This is Good Morning San Diego.
Join me now to talk more about some of these selections. Mainly, we're going to talk about Matt Gaetz here as an attorney general, as criminal defense attorney, and political analyst Vikas Bajaj. Vic, welcome back to KUSI.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think this one caught just about everybody off guard. I heard in the morning on some of the Gab shows that, okay, brace, there's going to be something big. This is going to come out of left field. I think this is what they're talking about, right?
Absolutely, and there really isn't a surprise here. I'm not sure why everybody is so shocked about this. Yes, there have been some serious allegations thrown out with zero proof, zero corroboration, zero fact-finding areas to actually determine what happened in the case, but I'm not sure where the surprise is. So really, what gives? I think this is generally an aversion to new, fresh blood coming in and essentially doing an audit of an incredibly diverse, proliferous, superfluous, and unnecessarily large federal government, including the Attorney General's office.
Vic, when you know the game much better than I do, so I will acquiesce to anything you say here, but I always judge these decisions by the people who are upset with them, and whether or not that I'm in their camp or not.
Right.
I have to say, I take joy in some of the people who have their undies most twisted on this decision.
Well, I guess the election has brought some joy after all,
yeah.
right?
Well, I'm just saying, some real swamp dwellers are really up in arms about this, and I find that liberating, if you will.
So, the one word you use in that introduction is swamp dwellers. And one thing we can understand from President Trump at this point is he wants one thing that will fix the government from now and forever into the future, and that is term limits. He's really pushed this issue, and if you hear about it, it's in the undercurrent of every one of his speeches and policies. He does not want swamp creatures. He does not want people who are senators and senators forever until they pass away and have a 200-acre fly fishing farm in Virginia on a $200,000 salary. Yeah. Okay, he doesn't want that. So what you actually see is new, fresh blood here that are going to have a new inspection. Look at the average age of the people that he's picking here. We're talking mid-40s on the high end. Yeah. So he wants them to come on in, have no loyalty to big business, big corporations, only have loyalty to the United States of America and its citizens, and then move on.
And I would argue loyalty to him and his vision. I think the first time around, his cabinet selections were some of the name brand selections, and they turned out not to do the job well, or at least not as well as he wanted them to do.
You can have an election result come on in, and you can just be winning by a hair. But when the American people have voted the way they voted in this last election, it is truly an unequivocal statement that they want President Trump to put into play what he has said he will put into play. So it's a loyalty issue, but it's not a loyalty issue to President Trump. It's a loyalty issue for all the voters who overwhelmingly voted for his what will be mandate.
I have two more questions. One, the old guard in the Senate will not vote for Matt Gaetz. That's just, already people are lining up. He would not pass mustard. But there's another way to get him on, right? Could you explain that a little bit?
Yes, thank you. Recess appointments. So normally Congress will recess, Senate will recess during big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and they won't actually be in session. But what he's saying is no need for a break. Let's go on in there, and during this recess, which the United States Supreme Court says is legal. You can have recess appointments. If these breaks are longer than 10 days, you can go on in and seek an appointment. Let's have a temporary appointment, which the court has said lasts for 2 years. He wants to get his agenda moving sooner rather than later. That's clear.
Because let's face it, he has about 2 years. But then the next presidential cycle starts. He becomes, who knows how the next election cycle goes. He could be a lame duck president within, by 2026. So one more question on this matter, because it seems like Mr. Trump is pilfering from the House and from the Senate. The margins aren't that big either in the Senate or the House in favor of the Republicans. Is he endangering losing his advantage of having all three phases of the government in his corner? I mean, depending on who gets elected in special elections?
There's going to be a challenge either way, no matter what the split is. Every one of these old school politicians is going to be vying for a little bit of media time and these snippets, but my answer is no. I think what's happened here is the American people have said very clearly that we believe in your agenda, and if you believe this is the right pick, we're going to move forward with it to get this agenda moving.
But we've seen how the House, one by one, sometimes congressmen and congresswomen get picked off, and suddenly you could be down to having no margin at all for important issues.
That's exactly right, Paul, but that's when it was popular. Okay, we're talking about politicians. Politicians need to be popular. That's in their blood. That is what keeps them employed. It's no longer popular to oppose the will of the American people.
Fair enough. Last, may I ask you one off-topic question as it relates to this special election for the DA in Los Angeles? Gascon is gone. How does that affect the trial of the century, or the story of the century, with the Menendez brothers being perhaps released from prison? Will that affect that outcome?
I don't believe so. Once the district attorney has said, you know, this is ripe for resentencing, and I'm booting the ball and heading it over to the Bureau of Prisons, which is the state equivalent of that is the Bureau of Parole Board. And they're going to make the decision on when and if this release should be happened, given the resentencing of the Menendez brothers. It can't change things. If it changes things, Paul, then the result is, hey, politics really get in the way of justice. The decision has already been made to resentence them. That's the way I predict it'll move forward.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thanks for rolling in. Always a hoot to talk with you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.